Ryan Clark. Oh, that good old Ryan Clark guy. What's up with him now? Well, apparently ESPN has decided to give Ryan Clark a contract extension with their network, as he will be paid $2 million a year. Wow, interesting news to see for sure. This is Sports Guy Talking that you guys are watching and listening to. I am Dustin Tran, your host, as I am here today to talk about Ryan Clark becoming one of the highest paid NFL analysts at ESPN. With that issue being resolved now, Ryan Clark will continue to work on the Get Up and NFL Live shows as an NFL analyst. However, this move by ESPN has caused viewers to question the network's credibility in terms of whether they actually hire the best people at their jobs, as Ryan Clark is better known as a race baiter. Before I say anything else though, I want to present you guys with the topic question. So here it is. Did ESPN make the right or wrong decision to give Ryan Clark a contract extension? For the people that have been following me for a long time, you guys all know what I'm about to say. Obviously, ESPN made the wrong decision to give Ryan Clark a contract extension. Are you kidding me, ESPN? Why would you retain Ryan Clark where a bunch of fans already hate Ryan Clark in general because he's better known as a race baiter and he's constantly crying all the time whenever he is speaking? I've never seen a guy cry as much as Ryan Clark has. I get crying as a man, but Ryan Clark takes that thing to the extreme. This dude is also crying about racism all the time. This dude sees color in every single topic. Every time Ryan Clark speaks, oh, it's always the black man that's at a disadvantage. Oh my God, we must be pushing for equality. And Ryan Clark is not exactly the brightest guy out there in general. And we all know that Ryan Clark has been in a contract dispute with ESPN. The dude has been crying about not getting enough money in his contract negotiation offers. And he's been constantly crying about how he's not getting treated fairly compared to his colleagues. He was trashing Pat McAfee a few weeks ago for getting the money that he was receiving. He also was trashing Pat McAfee for how he was able to trash an ESPN executive and how nothing happened to him. And then he tried to pull the race card, as he said that a black man could never do that. He didn't necessarily say Pat McAfee by his name, but we all knew that he was talking about Pat McAfee. Roll the film.
But it let me know that it's different for different people. Like, I'm not going to be able to sit on my show and call out an executive by name and say that this executive is effing over me, and then be in a picture with another executive the next week because he's showing solidarity with me.
Huh? Is that what you're talking about, Ryan Clark? You're talking about Pat McAfee? You're saying that you have less privilege than Pat McAfee? Are you kidding me? If Pat McAfee said today that a black quarterback didn't deserve to be in the National Football League and that he was only in the league because he was black, what do you think would happen? They would fire him right away. But if Ryan Clark spoke up about a white quarterback and said that, oh, they need to get that white quarterback out of there, guess what? He's going to stay because they're not going to care about the racism. But we all know that ESPN is very pro-black when it comes to certain things. Why else do you think they kept Kendrick Perkins there for so long? It's pretty obvious that Kendrick Perkins is not a qualified ESPN analyst. You guys remember how he said that Nikola Jokic was only winning the MVP award because he was white? Yeah, get the fuck out of here, Kendrick Perkins, because you clearly didn't know what you were talking about whatsoever. But anyways, let me get back to Ryan Clark though. This guy is always crying about mythical racism all the time, and he's saying, oh my God, whites and blacks, they're not treated equally. What are we going to do? Oh my God, and these players, they're not getting treated fairly enough. Please, we want equality. And that's all Ryan Clark knows. All he knows is talking about equality all the damn time. It's all he ever talks about. If you took the equality word out of Ryan Clark's mouth, I guarantee you this guy would not know how to analyze anything whatsoever. He's nothing more than a race baiting jock that is not really good at his job at ESPN. He does a pretty crappy job breaking down film. I don't have a problem with black people at ESPN, obviously. I don't mind hearing their analysis if they're actually good at their job. I just feel like Ryan Clark is a pretty lousy worker at his profession at ESPN, because when is the last time you've actually seen Ryan Clark break down film and actually give useful analysis? I feel like every time ESPN puts Ryan Clark on the screen, you just hear to lecture people about racism in America and how black people are not getting treated equally as white people, and he is constantly seeking the approval of white people in order to justify his own ego all the time. You can tell based on the way how he's talking. He also falsely accuses people of being thugs, particularly Sean Payton. Look, I'm no Sean Payton defender. I've trashed Sean Payton on multiple occasions, but how could you call Sean Payton a thug for how he treated Russell Wilson? Look, so what if he gave Russell Wilson tough coaching? Isn't that what y'all wanted last year when Russell Wilson sucked with Nathaniel Hackett as the head coach? People were saying, oh, Russell Wilson, he needs tougher coaching. Now Russell Wilson got that tougher coaching. Now people are crying, oh, Sean Payton, he's not treating the black quarterback fairly. Please relax his treatment. Please, please, please. please. And he called Sean Payton a thug. Now, I decided to look up the word thug on Google. I wanted to know what the definition was. I already knew it, but I'm going to read it for y'all anyways, and tell me if this sounds like Sean Payton was a thug or not. So based on Ryan Clark's meaning, where he says Sean Payton was a thug, this is what the Google definition says. It says it is a violent, aggressive person, especially one who is a criminal. Based on that definition, how is Sean Payton a criminal? What did Sean Payton do that was threatening to Russell Wilson? Why? Because he got in his ear on the sidelines against the Detroit Lions? That's not criminal behavior. That's him holding Russell Wilson accountable. Now, do I think that was necessarily Russell Wilson's fault that Sean Payton didn't throw the challenge flag? Of course not, but I need to see people getting held accountable. And Ryan Clark was crying about how white quarterbacks and black quarterbacks, they're not treated equally, which is really why ESPN loses so much credibility, because they make statements like that. And whenever you have a guy making statements about how white and black quarterbacks are not being treated equally in the golden age of the black quarterback, yeah, obviously I'm going to have an issue with that, and that's going to make people look at ESPN as a joke. Roll the film.
But let's be honest, Sean Payton has behaved as a thug since he became the coach of the Denver Broncos. Immediately when he gets in the building, he starts to undercut Russell Wilson personally and professionally from his first press conference on. He tells Russell Wilson, you have to stop kissing babies, stop behaving as if you're running for office. Nobody kissed more babies in New Orleans than Drew Brees. Period, point blank. From the beginning, he walked into this building and he had a point to prove when it came to Russell Wilson. You're going to be just like everybody else. I'm going to treat you just like I treat everyone else on the team. That's not the way it works with franchise quarterbacks. Right? With a franchise quarterback, he's talked to differently. There are conversations instead of being talked at. You don't berate them on the sideline against the Detroit Lions because you don't agree with their play. We watched Sean Payton in New Orleans for a decade and a half never treat his quarterback this way. And so now as you move through and you hear about the phone call, you hear about talking to his representatives about restructuring or doing whatever they wanted him to do to the contract, this was just a means to an end for Sean Payton. This was going to happen at some point. It just happened toward the end of the I don't believe there was a thing Russell Wilson could do to make Sean Payton like him. I think from a personality standpoint, it was a bad match. I think schematically, it was a bad match. But my point is this. My point is this. Let's hold Sean Payton to some sort of professional accountability. His behavior as the head coach of the Denver Broncos is unacceptable. If I'm the Walton family, I do not want somebody representing me this way. And I want to say this about Russell Wilson, because Russell Wilson takes a hell of a lot of heat. The humility that Russell Wilson has shown, the professionalism that Russell Wilson has shown inside of that building while being treated that way by that man, all I got to say to Sean Payton is you lucky you had the right one.
Yeah, talk about bias in your analysis, Ryan Clark. You clearly took so many things out of context, and to call Sean Payton a thug was clearly false. It clearly came off as a guy that was over-emotional and that he didn't know what he was talking about whatsoever. I think Ryan Clark got overpaid in his contract. I personally would have just fired Ryan Clark altogether, but I guess when you're paying Mina Kimes $1.7 million, you got to give Ryan Clark a higher raise of money than Mina Kimes. I mean, I do agree that Ryan Clark is a more useful analyst than Mina Kimes, because Mina Kimes just goes on my TV screen and talks about the numbers all day long, and she just points out a bunch of meaningless stats. Remember the time when she was talking about how Jameis Winston was a better quarterback than Drew Brees? Yeah, clearly Mina Kimes doesn't know what she's talking about whatsoever. Her knowledge of the game is clearly limited. No, it's not because she's a woman. It's because of the fact that her analysis is just, quite frankly, not useful whatsoever. Now it seems like Ryan Clark, he's going to return to NFL Live. He's going to be working with Laura Rutledge, Marcus Spears, Dan Orlovsky, and Mina Kimes. Most of the people in there I don't like. I do like Laura Rutledge though. She's a pretty good host. I actually like listening to Laura Rutledge in general. She just seems like a good person to listen all around. And then of course Ryan Clark gets to also work on Get Up as well. He's going to work with a panel of people. There's going to be Mike Greenberg. He's the host of that show. Then you see Dan Orlovsky, Mike Tannenbaum, Dan Graziano, Bart Scott, Rex Ryan, alongside with other guests as well. So it seems like Ryan Clark is going to get a bigger role at ESPN. Obviously with the money that Ryan Clark just received, expect to see Ryan Clark on the TV screen a lot more. I know some people are probably groaning at that thought right now, and I don't blame any of y'all for thinking that. that, but I'm just letting you know that's probably what's going to happen. We're just going to make ESPN lose even more credibility than what they've already lost. I got this quote from y'all that I want to read from Outkick where they address the Ryan Clark contract situation. I think you guys are going to find it pretty interesting. So according to Outkick, there is a part of the article that states, quote, Clark's new salary puts him ahead of fellow NFL analyst Mina Kimes, who signed a contract worth $1.7 million annually last year. Clark wanted ESPN to pay him as if he's among the upper class of sports media. He's not. He's a former mediocre jock who caters to current athletes and pretends to understand the social dynamics of society. Ryan Clark is not Shannon Sharpe or Chris Russo, both of whom make quantifiable contributions to ESPN viewership. Clark is no different from the 20 or so other former players who have a voice at ESPN. Boom, there you go. Thank you, Outkick. You guys just spoke the facts right there. And obviously, if Ryan Clark got fired today, I don't think anybody would miss him whatsoever. The viewers would say, oh, finally, that race baiter finally got fired. Now let's see what other useless race baiter ESPN is now going to hire that was a former player. Ryan Clark is easily replaceable. Ryan Clark never says anything creative, but yet the way that he talks every single time he's trying to go viral on ESPN with his hot takes, but I don't even think he believes half of what he says anyway. He's a horrible analyst and he's just not a good dude all around. So that's why ESPN clearly made the wrong decision to give Ryan Clark a contract extension, as he should have been fired from their network. Remember, go ahead and subscribe to Sports Guy Talking, like the video, and please comment down below. If you guys do that, I may shout you guys out in my Instagram story every Monday. That'll be for the @Dustin Tran Instagram account. Make sure to follow me on Instagram @Dustin Tran, and that's Sports Guy Talking. Also, go follow me on Twitter @Dustin Tran. Again, go ahead and do those things that I just told you guys to go do. Hopefully, you guys enjoyed the content that was just produced. Peace out. I hope you enjoyed that video. Want more Sports Guy Talking, the home of great sports content? Make sure you click that subscribe button to get the latest from Sports Guy Talking. Go ahead and like the video, comment down below, check the description box on the video in order to follow my Instagram and Twitter. Also, be sure to check out more of the best clips from the YouTube channel Sports Guy Talking.